We're hearing that Ralf Rangnick has been granted his work permit by the Home Office. He will be watching the game tonight. We are trying to work out that will most probably be from the stand, because we're hearing Michael Carrick will be taking charge for the final time. But he will be watching on in the stand. He will speak to the media tomorrow, Ralf Rangnick. So that work permit has come through. There's a thing. So if it's come through, why isn't he in the dugout? He's just got this watching brief. But managers like to do that every now and again, don't they? When they come in, just have a watch of the first game, take it all in, and then formulate the way to go forward. Do you understand that then?
Well, I can understand it if there's been no communication. Again, as much as I might not believe entirely what Michael Carrick said there, it's not to say that it isn't true, of course. And if there's been no communication between Rangnick and Michael Carrick or any of the players, then it's probably best he stays in the stand, simply because he doesn't detract from the focus of trying to win the game tonight. However, if there has been some communication, then I would be surprised if he doesn't go down there at some point, whether it's before the game, whether it's immediately after the game. But I wouldn't be surprised. Well, sorry, I would be surprised if he doesn't actually go in there and introduce himself to the players. Yeah, so that would mean his first time in the dugout, Crystal Palace, coming up this Sunday. So the schedules are tight whenever you come in at this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. And again, that kind of goes back to that original point. You would think that knowing that you're in position of taking over, physically taking over the side, then the sooner you can implement your philosophy, your ideas, then the better. So therefore, you wouldn't wait until after the game, possibly tomorrow, whatever, and then start preparing for the Crystal Palace game. You'd like to have put something in place just so the players knew where they were going to go once you actually physically get there. Do you consult? I mean, it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say tomorrow, first up. But do you consult with the coaches who have been there under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get a gauge of what's going on in the dressing room, who's up for the fight, who perhaps isn't, why hasn't it been going as it should have been going? Or do you just come in with your assistants and treat it all as a clean slate? Well, first of all, you've got to trust the people you're asking questions about, or asking questions to, shall I say. I mean, I've been in that position myself, where you go in and part of ironically, the former management was a former Manchester United manager. But one of his assistants stayed on for the game that we sort of overlapped, and you have to ask questions to that person to get some clarity on players, because no matter how many games or how many videos you watch, the stuff that happens at the training ground, the day-to-day stuff, the player personality stuff won't be seen by everyone, and therefore if you trust the person who you're asking the questions, you can get a better feel of, as you say, who's up for the fight, who might be in a sort of particularly difficult personal position, and that will ease your sort of approach to those players when you physically get in there. So you need a trusted ear for sure. Yeah, and we posed the Cristiano Ronaldo question. Is that perhaps a red herring as far as Manchester United is concerned, in that maybe it's the other end of the pitch where the focus needs to be? What are you saying, Rob? Are you saying that Manchester United not keeping a clean sheet at home for 11 games is the worst in their history? Yeah, it's a big problem. I love the way you just slip a stat in there with such magnificence. Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo's one thing, and of course he's going to get headlines pretty much no matter what he does. But if I'm thinking back to the games when you go to Old Trafford, how it was a fortress, and I'm talking about the top three and whether you can get anything off the top three. Well, that was what it was like to go to Old Trafford, and one of the reasons was that people didn't often score many goals there. But at the moment, as I say, it's the worst run in their history, and teams will go to Old Trafford thinking, we're going to score a goal. It's whether or not we can stop Manchester United from scoring a goal, which is completely the wrong way of treating a Manchester United game at Old Trafford. The fact that he's got this consultancy position to come at the end of the season, can you be fully focused on what's ahead
and what's happening in the here and now. Is that possible if you're Ralf Rangnick?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just come out with the old cliche, you've got to take each game as on its own merit at one at a time, and therefore, he's got plenty of experience in the position. Again, this is why the sort of the conversation bit with Michael Carrick or anyone else at the club, or the non-conversation, as Michael said, suggests that it doesn't seem quite right. You would want as much information as you can, get that first game while you're in charge, or like tonight, to go and watch, get that first game right, take the next game, get that one right, and put Manchester United in a healthy position for the end of the season. So your next role can be done in a much easier sense as well. So, yeah, I think he can do both. He's got the experience.
Yeah. So just to recap that breaking news then, you can see on the bottom of your screen, the way we understand it at this moment in time, what we do know is that the work permit for Ralf Rangnick has been granted. The way we understand it at the time is he won't be in the dugout tonight. Michael Carrick will take charge of his final game. Ralf Rangnick will be there, though, with a watching brief. He will then speak to the media tomorrow and will be, we presume at this moment, in the dugout for the game against Palace at the weekend.